catching all of the bad guys from the cybersecurities. So then he joined JP Morgan as a compliance function and moved to HSBC a private banking section as the head of compliance. So HSBC known for cashless compliance as well, and the private banking section has the hardest of parts. So he's the head of compliance. Then he moved to a utility token exchange on Consumer. So at the peak time, the daily trading volume is around 100 million US. So the peak area was, the peak ranking was 22 globally. So right now it's on top 20 globally as well. So you can check the whole market cap. So let's start with the SEO focused core question list. So which industry in which countries would you see as the first mover to adopt STO as their financing options? So any industry in which country would you say would be the first mover to adopt this ICO movement?
Well, I don't know specifically which country, but a lot of STO are currently conducted by blockchain-based companies that are more likely to do STOs. And I even led a fund company that want to offer STO for their fund that I led in Malta.
Yes, I think this is an interesting question because I don't have a particular industry, but then what I think is for the country, definitely what Henry just mentioned, I think it's good to have the framework or the guideline that the regulator wants to govern, like Hong Kong, Singapore, or US, they have a corporate guideline given out, and that helps the investor more confident on the crypto side. And yeah, I think that's the most important thing. And then secondly, about tax issue, and then for US and they charge capital gain, and then there's other considerations that if you listed there, and then yeah, that will become capital gain, and you have to pay tax. And then US is always a mess in the tax system. So yeah, I think that's another consideration that is to take care if you want to list it in US, and then that's a very complicated aspirations.
My add-on is, of course, I think the first mover would definitely be the US. So US are quite active already in the STOs. So they are basically applying the current securities regulations right now. So we use the Reg B, the Reg S, and the Reg A plus. So that's the mainstream. And as I said, the two majors of the STO exchanges are based in the US right now. And yeah, if some of you are interested, they're actually one of them is now in Hong Kong, South Asia. So we will talk about after some region. But put that aside, I think on the Asia, I think of course a lot of Europe countries could be first mover. Singapore, of course. Hong Kong is now catching up, of course, with this new statement. Of course, Malta, Malta, and then Philippines and Malaysia are very interesting. They come up with a license regime, but they're not. Okay. So. Yeah, the Philippines and Malaysia have their regulatory system. They have given out the licenses for virtual assets or utility tokens, but not quite there yet to give out licenses for securities tokens. But I think that was something to be maybe something that could be foreseen in the near future. In terms of industry, as I mentioned, real estate. I think funds is definitely not one, or some of the artwork. I would say that would be one industry that would be tackled.
I agree with everyone here, so that's the easiest way to say. I think one thing for securities token, actually the equities market for private companies would probably be one of the easiest to do SEO. It's actually not that, it's just, it makes a lot of sense. Equities is securities. So I think the equities market for a lot of private companies, for maybe some private tech companies, they might want to go this route. Some new venture companies, they may want to do this. So besides all the different industries that you mentioned, I think this might be one very easy use. So when you're talking about equities market, then you have all sorts of companies coming in.
For mainland Chinese issuer, I've been following some little hobby seminar in Beijing. So they've been talking about VIE structure. So setting up the start with the BVI holding the Cayman Island and holding Hong Kong Limited Company, having a control agreement with the mainland Chinese entity to raise the fund. So, do you think for the mainland Chinese issuer, would VIE would be the most popular option to do STO, and how can we actually structure it properly?
Well, I think I'm equipped to answer that question. Most of the Chinese company, especially in the internet area, because the law prohibit foreign investment in China, so U.S. attorney came up with the VIE structure. And the Chinese government did not take any action against that, and it's become accepted practice by big companies. So to do a security token offering is just simply an offshore jurisdiction holding company has another agreement, tie the equity to the token, and have the local attorney issue an opinion letter. But you gotta be careful because current Cayman Island and BVI attorneys may not be able to issue opinion because there's no crypto security law exists. So if you go to a smaller island jurisdiction where they're happy if you pay them the license, as long as you pay, you can get just about anything. So our exchange is called Mass Capital Universal Exchange Inc. It's incorporated in the Caribbean island nation of Anguilla.
So on VIE, I must say that I'm very familiar with that structure because, as I mentioned, I was an IPO lawyer before, like back in the 2000s. So like with the Alibaba IPO at the time, the first time. So we used the VIE structure, obviously. So I would say if you're particularly referring to Chinese company using VIE structure to issue tokens, as a lawyer, I would have some reservation on that, not just only from the legal perspective, but from the overall, let's say from a political perspective, because one might understand, right? So even for VIE company, it takes a really long time. There has still been a lot of debate, even as of today, as of the legality of the VIE structure is still something that is quite a little bit uncertain. But one might understand, right? Tokens or cryptocurrencies right now is not one of the most favorable subjects in China. So if you want to use this sort of like VIE structure or similar structure to tokenize some of the Chinese companies or Chinese assets, so my personal opinion, I would have some reservation on those, just because no one can show, right? You know, like how like we have experience. I still remember on the 4th of September. Suddenly you come up with an announcement, say all the exchanges, like all the ICOs cannot be done in China. So I will not take a risk on that. But I would, as I mentioned, was more feasible for the STO, for the first part of STO is to tokenize the income stream. So I would adopt sort of similar structure, not Chinese related projects, but like maybe like the Southeast Asian projects, which are permissible in their home countries. And to use similar structure for STO purposes.
Actually, I don't have anything to add because it's the legal. I don't argue with the lawyer. But I think yeah, that's I share the same with Andy as well. But for China, if you want to go to this STO, that's VIE. That's the only way I want to talk about because. If you touch on anything that Chinese government don't want to touch on, then that is the most proper structure. But yeah, other than that, yeah, I don't know any other structure. Yeah.
Actually, how many of you know what is a VIE? Okay, how many of you don't know what's a VIE? I have no idea. No idea, right? Can I have a show of hands? What's the exact English translation for VIE?
So VIE stands for variable interest enterprise.
Yeah, so variable interest enterprise. So like you structure a Chinese company which theoretically cannot be held by a foreigner through a series of contracts which transfers the economic rights of that company to a different entity in China that can accept the economic rights. But that type of entity, you can have foreign ownership. So it's actually pretty complicated. So for anyone who wants to know what is VIE, please look for Henry because he's the expert. So I just want to get this clear first. I think the second thing that I think is pretty important on the VIE, I would suggest be very careful because once you step into a VIE for SDO, not only do you have to comply with foreign ownership laws in China, second, you have to comply with securities laws in China, which is, oh my God. And finally, you have to comply with cryptocurrency laws in China, which is right now, I think is being prohibited. So you have to comply with three things. One is tough enough. You want to do three? So I don't think this is something in the near future you should attempt. So very quickly, I'll say don't attempt that. You probably waste a lot of money.
The last thing I want to add is that I still want to see you in Hong Kong.
Sure. And we talked a little bit about the hot use cases, the most popular use cases, arts, property, and the even truck in the logistics company. So as one as generate cash flow that can be structured as STO. And is there any type of company or assets that do not fit STO?
Well, I think STO will cover everything value, assets that are both tangible and intangible. In the U.S., even the $1 million RPs is being tokenized with 10 tokens for ownership transfers. And our exchange initially would focus solely on company ownership, equity, security token. In the future, we will have a commodity-backed token, and in the future, we will have foreign exchange base. It's tied to fiat. It's a stable coin as a foreign currency exchange.
The way I see it is that ICO and STO should actually coexist. So in the past 18 months, right? So a lot of the software, securities tokens or the real estate, all that, right? They try to issue like security token, but in the name of ICOs, right? And unfortunately, over some of that continue that. And okay, it's okay. So in the past, so a lot of these securities tokens pretend ICOs, these tokens. I think now, in the future, now I think STO has an STO market, ICO has an ICO market. For example, so if Ethereum or the protocol type of token should stay within the ICO regime, and some of like the real estate funds or the artwork or some of the others, then they would be staying in the STO regime. They serve different purposes because the ICO is for startup. So for business, new business idea to be tested out, they don't have to raise like 100 million so that you can just give them more funding, 5 million, 10 million to test out the idea. But for the STO, that the more mature business or the access of real estate, big companies and all that, or artwork and monopolies, right? You can fractional ownership. So they serve different purposes. That's how we see it.
I think probably everything can be fit into the SEO, but then what Henry just mentioned about is some of the mining, and there's some restriction for on the mile, and like some of the land they cannot question, and that's, I think that's those, and also some of the gold or silver we already have the gold contract in the typical financial world. That's why you can still do SEO on the gold, on the asset base of gold, but I don't think there's anything that there's some difference between the SPO and the gold contract, and I don't see any value from my point of view. So that's the thing that I want to point out. Yeah.
We're talking about gold. There's something I want to share. There's a company that already offer gold reserve backed security token. Okay, their idea is that mining gold wastes energy and create pollution. So why not leave gold in the ground and then just use the reserve to back the coin? And they're actually doing it.
But then how do you prove the gold reserve in the ground until you actually take it out? Because a lot of the surveys and a lot of the reports may not
Based on the reports.
may not be reliable. Right? That's only speculation.
Well, financial reports may not be reliable also.
All right, let's open the question to the floor, and so you can say, is there a targeted question or just open question to the boss?
Also feel free.
Feel free to ask in any language that you want to ask in. So if you want to ask in like Russian, or you want to ask in French, you can try to. Maybe not be able to answer, but definitely Mandarin and Cantonese is okay. So any language. So please feel free to ask. Is a way of out. Thank you.
One of the holy grail in STO is to create a global exchange. Typically trade STO 24 hours a day over the whole world. Do you think that's feasible, or do you think that will happen?
Can I answer that?
Please do that.
With personal opinion, always disclaimer. This does not represent the opinion of CAF. So I gotta have a strong disclaimer. So personally, I think it's going to be a very, very, very tough challenge. So a lot of people say the holy grail of Bitcoin is to replace fiat currency, right? I think it's going to be a very, 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 very tough challenge to have a global exchange. I think that is very tough. So a lot of times in equities businesses and in a lot of private equity deals or like small private business deals for securities, the SFC or the SEC don't really care because the deal size is small. Or like, if not, to be honest, like every time you pitch for a new business idea, technically you need to get a BPM. So even if you raise like $10 for your new business idea, technically you probably need to get a BPM to be fully invested. So I think it's really tough to be 100% legally compliant to have a universal exchange. Not so easy. I don't think in the short term we'll be able to do this because like every single country have their own securities laws, and there is no universal securities laws across the world. So personal opinion.
Okay, you guys can from our company name. We're not just global. We're a universal exchange. Well, we're not that far out. We have a corporate license called MAS, Capital Universal Exchange Inc. It's incorporated in the Caribbean island of Anguilla. Okay, well, there's other people with even more wild idea. Is to put server on the satellite so they're beyond any country's jurisdiction. Okay, but blockchain-based exchange has a big challenge. So. Our idea is we do it the Chinese style, okay? So any lead company that has a legally structure with opinion letter from the offshore jurisdiction, we will allow them to trade on our exchange. Okay, but we will warn the company and investor that they're outside of U.S., European, China, Japanese jurisdiction. They came to our jurisdiction to trade. It will be 24-hour, 7 days a week trade, just like the 1.0 utility token exchange type of concept.
I guess the question is, what is your intake on the whole SEO thing? How confident, or what is your input towards this whole new bill? And how?
This gentleman.
Is there any other questions?
Yeah,
Thank you. This is specifically for Henry. So, what is the status of security tokens in Hong Kong? So, when we let's take example of token which represents equity interest in a company.
Sorry, you're asking Henry, right?
Yeah, Henry.
What's the question again?
Yeah, I'm saying-
I thought you asked.
No, I haven't finished. So let's take an example of a company who wants to tokenize its equity. Okay. So it's a security token, but in Hong Kong, what kind of security is it? Is it an equity or is it a structured product? And if it is a structured product, do all the safe harbors that are available